Good morning. This is my birthday, Friday, February 6th. And how am I going to spend it? I'm not sure, but I had told my mom back in like December that I didn't want to spend my birthday in a shelter, and here we are. And I know that being in a shelter is a godsend because I spent like 5 years being on SNAP, right? From 2020 to 2025, I was on SNAP. And, you know, a lot of things were happening in the world, a lot of things were happening in my life, but I was always good food-wise, you know what I'm saying? I always had enough food. Now I'm not on SNAP, and food is more than 30% of my income because inflation. And so when I have to spend money on food, I find myself spending so much. And so, you know, now I'm a lot more in tune with the suffering and challenges of the average American. SNAP is contingent upon income, right? And it's contingent upon how many family members you have in your household. So if you don't have a family, then you don't really have SNAP. So I missed breakfast today, but that's one of the reasons I should be grateful for the shelter is that, you know, you get 3 free meals a day. Without that, you know, this whole setup wouldn't work. You know, this whole idea of 30% gross towards your house and 30% gross towards your food. This whole situation doesn't stand, you know? It doesn't hold up. Benefits are unrealistic. What they're asking for is unrealistic. Hold on. I specifically wanted a cranberry muffin for my birthday. Orange juice, my favorite carton orange juice, and banana. So I'm gonna get that and maybe even a protein cookie.
Next, my brother.
Hey.
That's it?
No. Can I get a cranberry muffin?
Oh, yeah. You late? Okay. Make me another one, huh?
Now I'm just looking for the protein cookies.
Thank you.
Oh, here we go.
That's really good.
I think I'm gonna go with the oatmeal raisin. All right. How much is this in total?
$8.75.
Perfect.
Cash. Okay. All right. Cash money.
Cash
You want a
money.
straw?
Yes, please.
You got it, bro.
So really right now I'm just trying to find reasons to be grateful, you know? Because, you know, life doesn't always have to go the way that we planned. And we might not always have the resources that we want. We might not have the relationships we want. We might not have the connections that we want, but we're still alive. That's the one thing to celebrate because that means that in the future, we can have the things that we want. These are just the things that are on my mind right now. Something occurs to me. And yes, if you can't tell, I was just tearing up a little bit. I've been carrying a lot of emotions for a long time, you know? For a long time. Whoa, a long time. I've been carrying emotions for a long time. And here I am just sitting, doing the same thing, contemplating my life, wanting God to intervene. This is such an emotional period in my life. And it's just so interesting to see how like things have peaked and progressed. So interesting to see how far I've come emotionally, how far I've come in terms of survival, right? Because there's not a lot to do in late stage capitalism except for survive. You know, I'm realizing that I'm stronger now. I'm stronger than I've ever been. And, you know, yesterday I found out, it was 2 nights ago, February 4th, I found out that the love of my life is not going to be living with me this year. Right? She's going to stay in California and she wants me to stay in New York, you know? I've been trying to get that campaign off the ground since August 2018. So almost 8 years, 7.5 years. I've been trying to be with and it's like, are we going to start the family now that we've wanted to have or not? You know, and it's another or not. This time I don't want to wait. I'm 35 years old. I've been waiting for a long time for love. I pursued from 27 to 34, you know, and now that I'm 35, I'm not pursuing anyone. But what I am doing is I am pleading with the universe to give me success, to give me notoriety, to give me wealth, so that I can start having the experiences. It's really pay to play. And if Yahweh wanted it to be anything other than pay to play, then he would open up a door for me before I achieve wealth and notoriety to have a very powerful, very meaningful relationship. Or plural, powerful and meaningful relationships. But life is definitely pay to play. It probably always has been pay to play. You can't have the experiences that you want with the women that you want, with the people that you want, because you don't have wealth and resources and notoriety. Pay to play. So 35 is me saying, all right, Yahweh, help me be able to pay. Help me, give me the ability to pay so that I can play, because I want to play. I deserve to play. I've come a very long way. I've come a very long way. And so apparently success and notoriety are in your hands to bestow. So I ask you to bestow success and notoriety. Well, I ask you to bestow those things. So that's my situation. I'm stronger than I think to be able to just say, okay, you know, no more pursuing this woman. Let's just stop and do something else. You know? Family has the ability to give you purpose and fulfillment. And I had to just say no to the family that I wanted, which is essentially to say no to purpose and to fulfillment. But in this winter season, I'm believing that Creator will give me a different means for purpose and fulfillment. And I want to be open to what He has for me, as opposed to just trying to figure out my own plan. You're sad because, yeah, you're excited about your future, but your present is abysmal. It's abysmal. There's no hope. Outside of spirituality, there's no hope. Life can get worse. Society can get worse. The economy can get worse. Politics can get worse. The environment can get worse. Right? Those 4 major categories. Everything stands to just get worse without spiritual intervention. So there's not a lot to celebrate right now. How many times have I sat here and tried to change life? So many times. And how successful have I been? Not very. But my dad texted me some pictures of myself and my son for my birthday. And I was looking at those pictures and it's like, you know what? I've actually done the work of bringing together a family. My son, he's good. He's happy. Only child on this side of the family. He's a gamer. He loves video games. And that's making him happy. And poverty, you know, we can't afford to be esquitarians, but he can game. You know? That's another thing, Lord. How many times have I tried to put my son in programs? A good school. You haven't let me do a lot of things. You haven't let me do a lot of things. My life just is marred by failure. Failure to do this, failure to do that. And I'm just praying that when the dust clears, when the dust settles, and we understand the why behind God's delay, behind, you know, all this failure, behind all these attempts to change situations and not succeeding. But all I know is that Yahweh knows He's not allowed me to be very successful in anything. In anything. The only thing I've been successful in is raising my son. That's the only thing I've been successful in. But yeah, what was I saying? I was saying that God has not let me be successful in so many things. Like, there's so many things He's not allowed me to be successful in. It could almost drive you crazy. You're like, what are you talking about? Do you not know how much effort I've put in my life every single day to be able to achieve best results? What is the reason that you're not allowing me to do so? And the scripture comes to mind, apart from me, you can do nothing. How much time have I spent trying to do things apart from God? I spent a lot of time trying to do things apart from God. Yeah, that's the point of contention. And there's got to be a reason for it as to why God would not allow me to achieve success at all, besides my son. At all. At all. I'm praying that Yahweh meets me where I'm at. You know, meet me where I'm at. Don't force me to have to come meet you. That'd be really nice if you could meet me where I'm at. So here I am, the strong one, in 2026, surviving the dystopia, living where I'm supposed to live, being where I'm supposed to be, teaching when I'm supposed to teach, parenting when I'm supposed to parent, just doing the right thing, waiting for the Creator to intervene and give me the life that I deserve. Might take me for granted or might not see me as, eligible a suitor. But whenever I pursue her, I'm pursuing her knowing what my potential is and knowing that I deserve to be loved. I'm pursuing her knowing that I will eventually achieve greatness. And I didn't want to wait until I did that to receive love. And that's the big gist, that's the big point. The big point is that no one should have to wait until they achieve success to enjoy love. I have this chart in my parents' house that I left there, and it basically is talking about a cycle of, no, not a cycle, but love should be before, love should be before success. Love should be the prerequisite, because you're building from a firm foundation. Unfortunately, though, that is not the case. It doesn't happen to a lot of people. A lot of people are experiencing the opposite. Their lives are not being considered until they achieve notoriety or success. And that's quite sad. I resent the current meta. I resent the meta that you have to have success before you can enjoy a relationship. I've been resenting that for almost 8 years, but it's really come full to like a head. It's like, okay, my life is literally, it changes path. My life has changed its path because I wasn't able to achieve a relationship because I didn't have success or notoriety. Again, why would He let me, go through that? Why would He let me go this long without success? And maybe it's not the best thing to choose, it's for a family to be chosen because you can provide, Maybe when it comes to starting a family, you want there to be a love that transcends how much you earn, A love that's like, you're here for the kids, you're here for me, I'm here for you. that sounds more ideal than anything else. And notoriety only highlights a person's character, right? If they're not a good person, then notoriety will highlight that. And if they are a good person, notoriety will highlight that as well. So all it is saying this person is amazing, and now they just have social credibility. Why would I want to wait to have social credibility before someone sees me as awesome? So I say I resent this meta, and I hope that this meta changes. I hope that future societies will treasure people for being human first and foremost, not providers or protectors. I gravitate towards the tall ones because they can protect me. Okay, whatever. It's just, we live in a dystopia. We live in, not just a dystopia in terms of economic and political. We live in a dystopia in terms of society. Society not getting it together, My friend recently said that love is a myth, and in this current meta, I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. People just don't know how to value each other for being human. And all of the love that gets forsaken as a result of that. All of the opportunities that are missed, So I'm kind of heartbroken, but my heart will mend. I'm an Aquarius. That's what we do. We get over things. But it's just it's darn, what we could have had. And I'm sure that once I do achieve notoriety, then it'll be a lot more obvious that I was a good choice. My sister is texting me single letters of happy birthday. That's hilarious. And they're just coming in one by one. Alright, I'm gonna go eat, but I will have more thoughts because this is heavy on my mind. So what have I been doing for my birthday all day today? I've just been sleeping. And I came outside and I did that time outside in the park. And I came back here, then I ate, and I slept. Is it something to consider that I might be burnt out throughout my birthday? Right? That I got burnt out. And it just has been lasting right through my birthday. So that's why I'm having a bum birthday. Is because I've been burnt out and I still haven't recovered. It's 5:55, and I'll tell you one thing. I do feel like I'm complaining a lot. Almost too much. Just because there's nothing eventful happening by now. What's a date? What's a birthday? Things are on the way. They're on the way. It just so happens that I'm born in the coldest month of the year. Alright? The time that you're supposed to be recovering. So you want exciting things to pop off, but chill. When I finish in the restroom, I'm going to think about ways that I can be more positive, on this day. By many metrics, 35 is a failure. My 35 is a failure by many metrics. And I know that having a disability has a lot to do with it, but society doesn't care whether you have a disability or not, for the most part. Because it just conflicts with what you're supposed to be doing. It makes you look like you're incompetent, that you have to rely on social services, that you're seeking unemployment insurance, or they're seeking SSDI, Social Security Disability Insurance, where you don't work as many days. So I'm sitting here thinking to myself that by many accounts, my 35 is failure. My 35 is a lack of experience, a lack of relationship, a lack of joy, and less spending time with my son than I would like. So what's going to be said of the rest of my life? Will it get drastically, suddenly better? Or will it get better in a short period of time, like a year or two? Will I have to wait to enjoy love and success until I'm 36? Will anything happen in this life, in this year, 35? Will it be because I managed to pull something off? Will it be because my spirit team pulls something off on my behalf? And will my latter years truly be better than my former years? Greater than my former years? These are questions. Questions you want to ask yourself when you turn 35. I'd probably title this video 35 and failing by most social standards. And even now, like I'm in this shelter, and I'm just like low energy, depressed, and just kind of laying down, sleeping a lot of the day. You know, it just doesn't feel like the proper trajectory. Yeah, it could very well be that I'm just not accustomed to what it's like to rest, because I've always been working since I was a teenager. I never was the person who sat there and was subsidized. Not until 2020. It's a long time to go. Not having the role of somebody who enjoys a soft life. That's a lot of being the breadwinner. That's a lot of being a disposable male. This topic is very difficult to talk about. Like, for me, my future is wrapped up in Yahweh's plan for my life, Yahweh's vision. My future is wrapped up in the Creator's plan for my life. If He doesn't have a plan for my life, then I'm gonna have to thug it out for God knows how many years until I get to a place where I can be satisfied. But then by then, I've already lost my health, my peak health, and I have to be comfortable with myself dwindling. It just sounds so dark. It's not something that you even really think about when you're younger. 2 birthdays in a shelter. 2 birthdays in a shelter so far. This is my struggle. But it doesn't cause me as much anxiety as it used to. This would usually cause me to decompensate, like just thinking about how bad things are for my life and just how nothing seems like it's gonna pop off. I'm tired of decompensating. I'm tired of feeling so terrible about my life. So I've started to think a little bit more positively about it. But obviously this conversation is triggering me. Well, so another time, I guess. I still have to schedule appointments with my son like it's a doctor's office. But it looks like she's gonna let me talk to him today after all, so that's a good thing. Sorry, but depression is hitting me very hard. Just because I ask God for a good day doesn't mean that I'm not supposed to experience depression. And it's just hitting me right now. What are y'all ladies most putting me through? What training has my sensei prepared for me? Why do I have to endure so much? I just want to be successful. So decompensating is when your mental health state starts to drop drastically. Not all at once, but slowly. Like, it's a noticeable change. And I might be decompensating on my birthday. I struggle to see the good. And now I'm just so hugless. That's what I'm gonna call it for now, hugless. You know, I'm still far away from being held and holding someone. I'm still far away from intimacy and touch, having two heads close to each other, eye contact, kisses. I'm far away from that, as far away as I have been. At least that's how it feels. I'm stimming right now to avoid this fast of decompensation. If I were to just hold still, I would feel stress all over my body, and that would cause me to panic some more. I've learned a lot about my mental health through trial and error. '90s, '80s. Yeah, this is me trying not to decompensate. Maybe buying myself a snack might help. Just like going and getting a honey bun and like a poppy soda. There are foods that are good for your mind. Whoa! Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And the cracks began to show. Yo, Lord. I was gonna say 36 has gotta be my year. Can you imagine if I had to spend all 35 building stuff and creating stuff and not enjoying love and connection? Can you imagine if I had to spend all 35 just building? I don't know. Yeah, what do you have for me? What is your plan for my life? I have my own plans, but their probability. There's just so many outliers, you know? Hey. Hi. What's wrong? I'm shuddering on the inside. Tell me what's wrong. I have a lot of emotional pain because I don't. Not only do I not know what the Creator is going to do in my life in the future, I also don't have enough joy in the present. Not enough connection in the present. Not enough pleasure in the present. Believe it or not, the fact I've been sleeping so much, not enough rest. Because the quality of rest is what I'm looking for, not just the quantity. You know, I'm basically getting it how I live. But we got this. We got this. It's gonna be fun. So here's how I recovered from my this decompensation. My mom, I called my mom, right? Because when you have mental health episodes, you're supposed to, hey, what's going on? Good, you? I talked to my mom, and my mom was, she was basically encouraging me. She was like, you might not feel like a success, but she's like, you've had a lot of positive impact on a lot of people's lives. And I was like, okay, I hear you. And she was like, she said a lot of nice things. I wrote them down. Maybe I'll share them separately, but it was very encouraging. And then I got to talk to my son, and we were laughing and talking about different things and planning the other party and stuff like that. But yeah, my mom helped me calm down. And, you know, what's the word? There's a word that my therapist used to say. kind of like the reconstruction of thoughts. Radical acceptance. And yeah, I think radical acceptance is it. And then there's another one that when I remember, I'll be able to tell you. But yeah, something like cognitive restructuring. Thank you. Cognitive restructuring. So we did some cognitive restructuring, meaning that, you know, you just start shaping your thoughts and changing how you perceive certain things, and then that can help your body feel better, help your mind feel better. So changing the idea from I'm a failure, I'm 35 and I haven't had these experiences, to you've been a blessing to so many people, and you're valued as a result. You're not valued because of that, but you're valued. You're valuable. And it might not be where I want to be yet, but I'm trusting that God is going to help me to get there. And in the interim, I've been a strong, indomitable warrior. So yeah, I'm trying to be grateful. There's a lot to be grateful for. I'm grateful for my impact. I just pray that it translates into money. I'm kidding. Not money, because that sounds like it'll be archaic in 200 years, but like stability, wellness, wholesomeness, riches, honor, and a long life. Just like Psalms. This is the end of my birthday, but not the end of my birthday month. I'm gonna probably rest, not work as much. Maybe every year for February, I'll just take a break from doing a lot of stuff, and I'll just relax, and I'll just unwind. Maybe I'll be unwinding and relaxing this entire month. I don't know yet. We'll see.